The worst occasion in 1487, when records claim 80,000 people were killed, a bloody example to deter further unrest. The Spaniards had come not just to conquer lands for their king, but to make money for themselves. Joining forces with the Aztecs' tribal enemies gave Hernan Cortes the opportunity he was looking for.
So when the whole conquest was carried out, Cortes takes credit for it. Cortes is constantly talking about what he and his men are doing, but we're still talking about a few hundreds of Spaniards backed up by hundreds of thousands of Indian allies. So the conquest of the Aztecs is not a Spanish conquest of the Aztecs and their empire, but an Indian conquest.
With their crossbows and guns, the Spaniards were able to open up the Aztec lines, enabling their Indian allies to carry on the battle with their traditional weapons. But where the Aztecs fought to take live captives for sacrifice, these enemies shot to kill.
The Aztec nation as such disappeared with the conquest. There are a number of poems and chants associated with the downfall of the Aztec world, and one of them says, "Cry, oh cry, for we have lost the Aztec nation."
Throughout the Aztec Empire, the Spanish settlers destroyed pyramids and temples, using the stones to build their own churches. On the site of the Great Pyramid complex, the Spaniards built their cathedral. It became the center of their capital, today's Mexico City. In the new empire, Spanish became the dominant language. The Spaniards forced the Indians to work for them, and many were treated with great cruelty.
People often condemned the Aztecs, but when you look at what happened when the Spaniards came, their society has been called a mass sacrifice society or a massacre society, because within 100 years, 90% of the indigenous population in Mexico and in the New World was gone.
The worst killer was disease. The settlers brought smallpox, typhus, and other diseases new to the American continent, to which the native population had no resistance.
And the fact remains today that, well, only about 10% of the population is pure Indian cultures. That they have managed to survive over nearly 5 centuries is a miracle in itself. That the brutality of the modern Republican regimes throughout Latin America towards the Indian population has been more brutal, more destructive than even that of the original Spanish conquistadors.
But within just 2 generations, a new world was born out of the death of the Aztec Empire, a mixed or mestizo people.
The mestizo world, which appeared very soon after the conquest in Mexico, the birth of a new race, the descendants of Europeans and Indians, which form the majority of Mexicans today, happened very quickly. It was in stark contrast with the English colonization of what is today the United States of North America.
An hour's drive from Mexico City. But what's extraordinary is that the people here still speak Nahuatl, the language of the ancient Aztecs. It's as if the inhabitants of Stratford-upon-Avon still spoke the English of William Shakespeare. And the people here aren't doing it just for fun. It's a crucial part of their identity as modern Mexicans.
Every Saturday, the village school opens for extra classes. Nahuatl speakers come to study the roots of their language and the Aztec historical records. Their children learn both Spanish and Nahuatl, one of the most widely used of the 47 Indian languages still spoken in Mexico. But the combined legacy of the Aztecs and the conquistadors is not just visible in the small communities who cherish their Aztec past. It emerges most clearly in the religious practices of the majority of modern Mexicans. Their roots date from the conquest, when the Indians recognized familiar concepts.
The symbol of Christianity was a man who had been sacrificed, Jesus Christ. That instead of demanding sacrifice from them, the God of Christianity sacrificed himself. He was on the cross. This brought thousands of Indians into Christianity, in enormous belief and faith of the God who had dared turn the tables of their whole concept of the world, and instead of demanding sacrifice of the people, said, I sacrifice myself for you.
This extraordinary merging of cultures and beliefs is the foundation of modern Mexico.
We're moving into a world where the cultures are mixing, communicating and transforming each other in remarkably creative ways. And what you have coming out of the Aztec world and its meeting with Europe is one of the primary examples, it seems to me, of what our understanding of the future is going to be.
Mexico still shares many of the Aztecs' problems: a growing urban population, the threat of earthquakes and volcanoes, and a natural world which has lost its balance, not because of the gods, but because of environmental abuse. And just like the early Aztecs, many Mexicans have become nomads and migrants.
The Aztec world contains many warnings for the modern world. It gives us a profound lesson about the brittleness of any given culture of civilization, and it teaches us to be always on the alert, to understand the other, to await the arrival of the alien, of what is different, of what challenges our own prejudices, our own preconceptions of what the world and life are all about.